Hello my chickadees, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel depending on whether you've been here before or not. My name is Ariel and we are here today to examine the wonders of this new palette from Nyx by the name of Grind. Machinist Grind? Something like that. Anyway, this palette. I did order a bunch of stuff on Ulta recently, and this is just the first thing I'm going to be filming with, mostly because it's the newest thing. I also got the DESI+KATY thing, palette, but I think everybody who is going to make a video about that one has already done so. I also got the I Love Sarai palette from Dose of Colors and some other stuff, you know, 20% off, can't give it up. You know, maybe I should have given it up, but I didn't. So that's where we are today. I'm going to be doing a look with this palette. And as you can see, well, you're going to be able to see as soon as I cover up this mirror so that you don't get blinded. It's sort of a very pretty palette. It's got some sort of neutralish colors, some beautiful greens. I'm always attracted to a palette that has green in it, which means that recently I've been attracted to many palettes. But, you know, green and blue are my favorite colors of eyeshadow, but blue doesn't look as good on me most of the time just because of the coolness issue. Not that these are particularly warm, but these should be all right. You know, I have sort of a neutral undertone, so this should be fine. One can dream and hope and wish and pray. These lights are not very flattering to my skin problems, but whatever, we shall persevere. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. See, this is what happens when you buy a whole bunch of new stuff and you're in a new situation. Like, usually I don't do my makeup in this room, I do it in the bathroom. So that's actually one of the reasons that I'm trying to avoid doing foundation on camera, because the lighting kind of makes it come out cakey, because I'm not really sure what the heck I'm doing in this lighting yet. But okay, so first of all, we're going to prime our eyes with this Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. It's the anti-aging version. I've actually never used that before, so we're going to experience it together. Or rather, you've probably used it before, but I haven't. So I've used primer potion before, but actually primer potion was the very first eyeshadow primer I ever used many years ago, when eyeshadow primer was not like a known thing. I'm not sure if it's the first eyeshadow primer that existed, but it certainly was the first one that I ever used or ever saw. Back when it was in that hard plastic container that I miss because it was much more, you know, cool. But, you know, whatever. The product is what matters, not the packaging, right? At least that's what we try to tell ourselves, to justify our not buying beautiful things, or to justify buying things that we don't need because we think that the package is lovely. We're like, oh, I'm sure that I will totally use that 5,000th palette that has all the same colors as the other palettes that I already have. Is that, like, cynical of me? I'm just gonna put it all over my eye because, you know, I'm special like that. Actually, I think a lot of people do that, or most people do that. Perhaps they should do that if they haven't already started to do that. Anyway, so I'm going to be putting that on, and I'm probably going to cut this part out because it's just sort of repetitive and really boring. So I could just, like, write all sorts of words on my eyelid and nobody would ever know. Unless I somehow, in a fit of craziness, decide to leave it in, which, why would I ever do that? Except to make fun of myself. Alright, so I'm going to be taking this fluffy brush and using, I don't know, these don't have names, so I'm just going to use this one as a general base. They don't really have like a dark base, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. It's actually interesting, because people complain when there aren't enough skin tones of neutral shades in a palette, which I completely understand, because obviously people want to use it. But at the same time, they also complain when there's too many browns in a palette. That's interesting to me, because it sort of feels like you can't really win if you think about it. Do people want transition shades or not? Do people want setting shades or not? Nobody knows. That's what happens when people are not actually monolithic hive minds, even if they sort of have the reputation of being monolithic hive minds, because some people really want, you know, a palette to be usable all on its own, and some people just want new shades that aren't in every other palette, and it's just, you know, you can't win. Okay, so that's pretty cool. You know, it's nice. Okay, and for My crease, I'm going to go in with, I think I'm going to do, it's like a greeny look. So I will go into my crease with this thing. It kind of reminds me of that, one of those colors in the Subculture palette, which I just used a couple of weeks ago for the first time in a while. Please tell me that I'm not over pigmenting myself again, because this is a sort of like a trap that I tend to walk myself into, and it's just very unfortunate and sort of embarrassing. Always cut off your video before the video cuts you off. So yeah, it does remind me of the Subculture one, but it's not as intense, which can be or cannot be a positive depending on the way you look at it. It's definitely something I think that kind of easier to use than some of the Subculture shades. I know that was really a controversial palette. It came out around the time that I started really getting into YouTube. I remember Ashley infamously sort of like patting on it and then it was like falling apart. It was very distressing. I kind of like the palette, but at the same time it is sort of like a finicky palette. I don't find it as easy to use as the other Anastasia palettes, even though I'm sort of fine with it. Yeah, I overpigmented myself again. Why do I do these things? We all have our crosses to bear though, and I'm learning every day. I do really like this color though. It's a sad, sad situation, you know what I mean? So from here we're going to take this matte color again and just kind of put it on the outer corner. I'm trying to learn how to appreciate mattes. I know that most people are very, whoa, that is, wow, okay. Also, just so you know, very little fallout thus far. Not bad, not bad. Anyway, I know that a lot of people are very passionate about mattes. I'm not really a matte person. I'm that weirdo who used to put shimmers in the crease. Didn't even know that was a problem until I started hanging out on YouTube. I still do it sometimes. Not gonna lie to you. So I do enjoy my shimmers much more than I enjoy mattes. However, I'm trying to bring myself to the point where I can appreciate all different kinds of makeup, you know? Like, until recently, I also never used blush, which is interesting because I guess people are very passionate about blushes. I mean, I saw some people talking about how people don't use blushes enough, and I was kind of like, really? I kind of felt like it was too much. Like, I would put it on, and then I'd look like I escaped from a carnival, you know. Well, maybe I should, Okay, you know what? In the interest of being a decent reviewer, I'm going to mess with the shimmer without the spray before I use the spray, but just so you know, I'm going to use the spray. And let's see. So, oh, that's kind of pretty. I mean, it's very subtle, but you do get this like sort of a soft shimmer. And then if you were to put it on the eye, what is it going to look like? Look at me trying to do new things that are useful to you and not just to myself. You know what? That's actually kind of cute. Is it as intense as I prefer? No. But if you want to do something that's not as dramatic, that could be a good choice for you. That said, I'm gonna glam it up. May your eyes be as reflective as a mirror, said Ariel unto you. I don't see people cover NYX eyeshadows that much. I saw a lot about their, say, lipsticks, like that butter lipstick, butter thing. Not the bronzer, you know, the lip thing. That NYX does, not that Physicians Formula does. I haven't seen a lot about their eyeshadows. If you know why that is, let me know. Because I am kind of curious, but not curious enough to Google it. You know what? I like that. I think it's cute. I'm going to take this Maybelline Color Tattoo shadow stick thingamabobby in Barely Beige, and I'm going to go into my waterline. So one thing you may notice about me is that I tend to forget that my eyebrows are part of my face. Because my eyebrows are kind of, they're full anyway, and they have sort of a natural shape. I mean, this is a little bit cleaned up, but I don't usually do that much with them. I'm going to go to Ulta and have them kind of fix my eyebrows up so I can see like how to make the best of them. But as for now, all I really do is just kind of go over them with this pencil to make them a little darker when I have heavier eyeshadow on. Heavy eyeshadow tends to make my eyebrows look really light. It's funny, like when I was growing up, eyebrows, nobody was really that hype about them, whereas now people are just like, oh, don't even look at me if your eyebrows aren't really beautifully done. And I'm like, really? Eyebrows? Why? Like, why is it so deep? Since I want just like a little bit of a preview for myself of the Katy and DESI palette, I'm just going to try to go in with a little bit of this lovely glittery shade to try to, a little bit, you know what I mean? Just, to do this, I will use, what am I going to use? I'm the worst at using brushes for what they're intended to do. I really like the brushes that come with, well, okay, that came with the one Naked palette that I have, which is the Naked Smoky. I like the palette itself, too. This is interesting. It's like a, what is it, like a glitter? Am I ruining this shadow by messing with it? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We're going to see. See, I like this because not only does it brighten it up a little bit and add some sparkle, but it also warms it up a little bit, which is better for my skin tone. I really enjoy cool toned looks, but sometimes, even though my skin tone is, I believe, neutral, it does lean warmer, so sometimes a really cool look will make me look, you know, corpse-ish. We don't want to do that. We're not about that. We want to look like shiny, healthy people in the primes of our youth, even if we're approximately 5 bajillion years old, like myself. That's my actual age. I'm going to break into this Urban Decay Starfire Holiday set, and I'm going to go into, or go in with, as the case may be, the shade Starfire, which I believe is exclusive to that set. Which means this set better not be too good, because if it is, I'm going to be very tempted to buy a backup, which is against my principles. And I'm going to use it in the inner corner. So this one is a lot more glittery than the other Heavy Metals glitter liners that I've had in the past. That's not meant to be a bad thing, it's just letting you know. And it's very glittery. Value and pleasure to your lives, as well as my own. That is freaking cute. I do actually wear full glam to work, and I have no regrets about that. Now we're going to do mascara, and I'm going to go into my brand new Benefit Bad Gal Bang. This is my favorite mascara of all time, or at least it was last time I used it, which was a while ago. So we'll see if I've changed my mind since then. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see me do, comment down below, and we'll think about it. And by we, I mean me, because I'm not actually royalty. I remember when Bad Gal Bang first came out, people were kind of like, this is only good for under eyes. I think it depends on what kind of eyelashes you have. Like, my eyelashes are relatively thick, but they're just extremely short. This is pretty lengthening, but it's not volumizing, like, at all. So if you're worrying about volume, not your mascara. If you're worrying about length only, this could well be your mascara. I never had a problem with it leaking or streaking or collecting anywhere weird that it's not supposed to go. Which, let's face it, mascara is really just supposed to stay on your freaking lashes. It's not supposed to go anywhere. I don't mind water-resistant mascaras, but waterproof mascaras just like ruined my whole life. Listen, don't judge. Sometimes I do this. We all have our things, okay? That's another thing I want to know. Like, what are the ridiculous things that you do when putting your makeup on? I know a lot of people make strange faces, that kind of thing. I also do that. Loving this eye look. If you're wondering, no, I haven't put any concealer on. I'm probably not going to because I forgot to do it before now. One day, I'm going to actually have a full face of makeup on. Like, there will be actually everything that I usually put on me. But for now, it appears that I am not doing that successfully. And I'm going to now use this BH Cosmetics. That's my Ray Ray Contour Kit. And the reason I'm going to use it, even though I haven't put on concealer, is because I've been using it to block the mirror on my Grind palette. And it just seems cruel and unfair of me to use the palette as a block, but not actually feature the palette in any way. Seems like that's kind of like inconsiderate. What I do when I do my contours and my bronzes, I tend to use Brownie Bite, which, as you may notice, is very dark, much darker than me, arguably too dark for me, but I use it anyway because I just use a tiny, tiny bit of it, and then I can just spread it happily across my whole cheekbonal area in a way that doesn't sound, I mean, that sounds worse than it is. And then, what do they say? Snatch the jawline? YouTube has upped my makeup game, but also my get ready time. I have to get up at 6:30. Why? Why have I done this to myself? You'd think I would make better time choices, like better choices with my time consumption. But no. Oh yeah, when I'm blending my contour, I try to brush upwards so that I don't look like this. Just by my deflating video. Deflating is like a worst case scenario, you know what I mean? If sometimes you're like, why does she do this thing and move her hand like this and do this thing and that thing? It's usually because I am not used to putting makeup on in this setting. I will now proceed to bronze my face. I will bronze my face using this brush, this lovely sort of like angular brush. Today I'll use Mocha from the It's My Ray palette. So the most important thing to me about bronzing is attempting to make my forehead look less like it's going to hatch an alien creature. Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do about one's head shape when one's head shape is roughly Mr. Potato Head, but we persevere. If you've ever wondered why my hairline is strange, I'm going to tell you. Tension alopecia. It's the #1 enemy of people who like ponytails. I'll be honest, when I realized that was a thing, I actually did stop wearing ponytails and started wearing headbands, but it was too late for me. Do I see Rogaine in my future? Maybe. Oh, this is Milani Rose D'oro blush, which is one of the 3 blushes that I ever use. Well, you'll see them eventually if you hang around here. So as I was saying earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of blush, so I just kind of like, I try to be very light-handed with it and kind of blend it out a lot, but I can't guarantee that's what's actually happening just because of the lighting thing. Next up is highlight. So for a highlighter, today we're going to use Colourpop by Shayla in the shade Boomin'. This is one of my favorite highlighters in the universe. I remember when I first started wearing makeup again last year, I was like, why? Highlighter, why? That was the only question. That's the only way that I could think of to phrase that question. Like, why? Why are we putting highlight on our faces? Why are we contouring our faces? Why aren't we just having faces? Faces are faces and faces should remain faces. Or rather, it's not that I was judging people who liked these things. It's more that I just was lazy as per usual. I mean, if you're ever wondering why I don't do a thing, it's usually either because I don't care or because I'm lazy. Okay, so in seriousness, like, I work full-time, I come home, I have, you know, a cat child to take care of, I have mobile gaming to do, like, I don't have time to be all waking up even earlier. So I resist things until I realize that I don't want to resist them, which is what happened with highlighter. I remember the first time I bought a highlighter, I was like, I'm just gonna try this highlighter and prove to myself that I don't like it. Next thing you know, I had like 1 million highlighters. Now I have become glow-centric. I'm gonna blame everybody. But I remember even when Jackie Aina was coming out with her Artist Couture Diamond Glow powders, I was like, oh, I want to buy those just because I really like Jackie. And then I was like, but you know, I don't use highlighter, so what am I going to do with it? And I was like, well, I'll use it as an eyeshadow. It's funny, in retrospect, because I use it all the time as a highlighter. Now my eyelids, my lips are dry. I've been trying a lot of different kinds of lip balms because dry lips are a way of life, even though I constantly use balm and drink a bajillion gallons of water. I'm going to be putting on this Colourpop Luxe lipstick in Angel City. What was I saying? Who cares? Oh yeah, lip balm. I've been trying a lot of different lip balms recently. But I think in the end I always come back to EOS. Okay! For lasting setting spray, we're going to break into my holiday kit of Urban Decay, All-niter. This is the first time I've had a full size of All-niter. But mostly I've used Scandinavia, which is almost like the same thing. Why does it have 2 tops? Okay. And there you go. That's the completed look. That's the completed look. I should look over here so that you feel like I'm talking to you instead of talking to my own image, even though I was actually talking to my own image because I was looking at myself and thinking, is this good or is this bad? We're not really sure. But yeah, so it's the completed look. And Overall, my thoughts on this palette. I actually really like this palette. Like, if you like some of the colors from, say, the Subculture palette, things always turning off on me. You may be attracted to some of the cool tones. This green, this matte grayish green, very pretty. Much easier to use than the Subculture one. I really like it, and I'm looking forward to using, I guess, this shade right here, which is this really pretty sort of duochrome. It looks like a top shade. Yeah. Should I swatch it? You know, I hadn't even thought about whether to swatch it or not. Got those new YouTuber blues, man. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm gonna swatch it. Why not, right? People like swatches. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take some of the primer potion, gonna put it across my hand, and we'll get to see how these shadows perform. Starting with this green one. Very nice. This purpley top coat. See, that's a really nice sort of duochrome metallic-y color. Brown matte. That's nice. It's really smooth. Okay, now we're going to go into the pink shade on the bottom right. Okay. Matte shade on the middle right. That one's fine. Now we're going to move to the next hand. Once again, top part is on a base, bottom part is not. This is the one that I used for my eyeshadow base. Okay, just sort of light, hard to see on my skin because it's very close to my skin tone. And similar with that, very difficult to see because it is close to my skin tone. Now we got this pinky shade here, champagne color. Looks a little streaky, but it goes on pretty well on the eye. Well, you know, you can look for yourself, since I did use that one. Then we got this sort of grayish, what is this, like a grayish plummy color? Purpley color? Very nice. And at last, we have this orange, which I'm going to put over here because I ran out of room on my hand. Orangey color. All right, so there you go. Honestly, it's a $12 palette. It's not bad. I really like it. Am I going to turn in my Pat McGraths in favor of NYX? No. But am I going to use this again? Absolutely. I think it came out really nice. That's about it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Consider doing so. Put it in your mind. Turn it over a little bit. Drop me a comment. Tell me what you think of this palette if you've used it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask. I will try to answer you. And that's about it, man. How long can I stand here, sit here, talking to myself? A long time. I'm going to be honest with you. I could stay here for a long time, but I'm not going to because I'm done with the video. So bye. I'll see you next time. All right.